跑跑跑。
From May 17th to 18th, 2026, a prolonged sequence of earthquakes struck Liuzhou City, in the Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region of southern China. The earthquake sequence has been described as one of the most significant seismic events in Guangxi in recent years due to its intensity, shallow depth, and concentrated impact on populated areas. The strongest earthquake occurred at 12:21 a.m. on May 18th, with its epicenter located near Taoshan village in Lunan district. According to the China Earthquake Network Center, the quake registered a magnitude of 5.2 and originated at a shallow depth of approximately 8 kilometers. This shallow focal depth significantly amplified surface shaking, resulting in violent tremors across Liuzhou and surrounding regions. The shaking was widely felt in nearby cities including Nanning and Hechi, where residents reported strong swaying of buildings, rattling windows, and prolonged ground motion that lasted long enough to cause widespread alarm. During the main shock, many residents were abruptly awakened in the middle of the night as buildings began to shake violently. Eyewitness accounts described scenes of intense structural movement, with entire apartment blocks swaying, furniture sliding across rooms, and household items falling from shelves. The noise of cracking walls, rattling doors, and vibrating window frames added to the sense of urgency and fear. In several residential communities, large crowds gathered outdoors within minutes, creating chaotic and emotionally tense conditions. Some residents wrapped themselves in blankets, while others stood in groups discussing whether it was safe to return indoors due to concerns about aftershock. In the epicentral region of Taoshan village and surrounding rural settlements, the damage was significantly more severe than in urban areas. Numerous self-built houses and older brick and wood structures suffered serious structural failures, including deep wall cracks, partial collapses, and roof damage. Some buildings experienced exterior wall detachment, exposing internal support structures. Debris such as broken bricks, cement blocks, and roof tiles was scattered across roads and courtyard. More than 7,000 residents were evacuated and relocated to emergency shelters or open-air assembly point. Many evacuees remained outdoors throughout the night due to ongoing aftershock activity and fear of returning to structurally compromised buildings. Local governments rapidly organized shelter spaces, distributed basic supplies such as drinking water, blankets, and food, and set up medical assistance stations for vulnerable groups including the elderly and children. In the hours leading up to the 5.2 magnitude earthquake, the region experienced a series of smaller tremors that gradually increased public concern. These foreshocks created a pattern of escalating seismic activity that preceded the main event. In the early morning around 7:46 a.m., there was a magnitude 2.5 earthquake that struck Luoman town in Lunan district at a depth of approximately 10 kilometers. Although relatively weak, the tremor was still noticeable in some nearby areas, where residents reported slight shaking of windows and light fixtures. Because no damage occurred, the event was initially considered minor and did not trigger widespread alarm. However, some residents later recalled it as the first indication of unusual seismic activity in the area. Several hours later, a second earthquake of magnitude 3.2 occurred in Lunan district. This event produced noticeably stronger shaking and lasted longer than the morning tremor. Residents in multiple communities reported visible swaying of buildings, particularly in older residential structures. Some people immediately left indoor spaces and gathered outside to observe conditions. Although structural damage remained limited, this second tremor significantly increased public anxiety and prompted discussions among residents about whether stronger earthquakes might follow. When the magnitude 5.2 earthquake struck shortly after midnight, the accumulated stress from the earlier tremors likely contributed to both physical vulnerability in buildings and heightened psychological panic among residents. Structures that had already experienced repeated shaking were more susceptible to damage during the main event, particularly older buildings with weaker construction standard. In response to the disaster, the China Earthquake Administration activated a Level 3 emergency response. Guangxi authorities rapidly mobilized more than 300 firefighters, search and rescue teams, medical personnel, police officers, and emergency management staff to the affected areas. Search and rescue dogs and heavy rescue equipment were deployed to assist in locating injured individuals and assessing structural damage. Emergency teams worked through the night to clear debris, stabilize dangerous buildings, and transport injured residents to medical facilities. Seismologists continue to monitor the region closely for aftershock activity and potential secondary hazard. Authorities have also launched comprehensive structural safety inspections across residential and rural buildings to evaluate damage levels and reduce the risk of further collapses.